As I'm
Hello, everybody. I have a couple announcements before I start the show. So I have two announcements for tonight. If you are a friend or you're not a friend with Joe Carlton, it's at PTSBY Hand Carlton, Carltn. His 9-year-old making her at Sports Affiliate debut to support her fundraiser. So please go and check her out. The video is super cute and she's having 100% of the donations, they go directly to her school. So no donation is too small and everything is really appreciated. So there's a link. There's I shared it, JC shared it, everybody in the sport affiliation shared that. So go click on that video, watch Joe's daughter, she's super cute, and help her school raise some money. The second shout out I need to do is for Gigi Bots. So it's Gigi_FF Bots. She is doing a fundraiser as well, and she have a GoFundMe page. So please share, support, and donate as well. And check on her and ask her if she needs any help. Even if you give her, you give your support by talking, by lending a shoulder, that would be really nice. And it's what the community is all about. So let's say hi and welcome to episode 73 of the Game Changers. I'm Carla, your host for this episode, featuring JJWENNER. His extensive expertise will provide invaluable insights into our discussions, where we will explore thought-provoking topics to ensure a one-of-a-kind experience for our audience. A special thank you for the TSA team for their support in creating this platform for meaningful conversations with community leaders and innovators like you. Join me as I delve into the stories and insight of my guests, especially in the realm of fantasy football. The Game Changers fosters a unique community, and I'm honored to share this journey with all of you tonight. Who is JJWENNER? JJWENNER wears many hats, each one as dynamic and inspiring as the last. An avid fantasy football enthusiast, JJ is the host of the All Out Blitz podcast, alongside with Doug Orth and the Ride or Dynasty podcast, where he combines his passion for the sport with sharp analysis and engaging conversations. With both shows potentially embarking in new platform adventures, JJ's dedication to delivering top-tier content remains unwavering. Of the waves, JJ is a dedicated 8th grade history teacher and team leader, fostering leadership skills and critical thinking in his students. His commitment to building inclusive spaces shines through his work as the founder of the Lego Club and the LGBTQIA+ Club, creating environments where creativity and community thrive. A family man at heart, JJ is married with 2 children. Exciting times are ahead as his daughter is set to tie the knot this May, a proud moment for the Wenner family. A diehard Jets fan, JJ channels his passion for the game into every aspect of his life. A staunch advocate for equality, he stands firmly against fascism, embodying his values both personally and professionally. When you have an accent, right? Whether he's breaking down fantasy football stats, inspiring young minds, or championing inclusivity, JJWENNER is a force to be reckoned with.
Wow.
JJ, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
I'm very excited to be here. That sounded much more impressive than I am, but episode 73, can you believe that, Carla? 73.
Yes, round of applause.
Wow, that's amazing. Good for you. Good for
Thank
you. Hi,
you.
everybody. And Doug Orth. Doug Orth's in the chat. Hey, Doug.
Who's Doug Orth?
I don't know. Some guy.
JJ, I'm so excited to have you tonight, and thank you so much for for coming to the show. Do you want to share something new that's happening between the combination between you and Doug Orth? I know that you have something new to share.
Well, Doug and I have decided to take our relationship to the next level. No, I'm just kidding, Doug. No, Doug and I are very happy to be partnering with Full-Time Fantasy. And we're going to be taking over the Football Diehards YouTube channel. Jody Smith is one of the best fantasy minds out there, and I'm lucky to have met him at the Expo and consider him a great friend. And when Doug and I decided to try to find a new home for the All Out Blitz, Jody was one of the first people we thought of. And, Full-Time is the home to the FFWC. And Doug is a great high stakes player, so the fit is perfect. So yeah, we're really excited that our first episode is coming out on April 2nd. We're going to start breaking down some rookies.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's amazing. I'm so happy for you guys, especially that you're having a bigger platform right now. I know it's a lot of work, as I know, but I'm super excited for this next step for both of you. You deserve the best, you guys. That's really amazing news. So the daughter is getting married in May. How are you feeling about that?
I'm really excited. Yeah, her fiance, although I don't like that word, is a great guy. Kevin is wonderful. We're glad to have him as part of the family.
Nice.
We just tried to raise our kids the best we could so that they make great decisions, and they're making good decisions. So I'm looking forward to a nice, relaxing wedding. And I'm actually taking 2 days off of school, which is kind of shocking because I've never taken a personal day from school. But taking a little time off, going to go up to Newport, Rhode Island and enjoy some nuptials.
Nice. So we should see you if you're coming around here, like next to us in Rhode Island.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much time. I'm not taking that much time off of work. But, listen, I'm going to be up. I'll be stopping by. Connecticut very shortly.
Yeah, we would love to see you if you're passing by. That's amazing.
Yes, Rick. Jody Smith is a great one. Sorry.
He is. Jody Smith. Yeah. And he's coming on the show as well.
Is he really?
Yes. I have the
honors
to have him on the show. Yeah, he's really a great guy. And, when we go to the expo, we meet up with a lot of great individuals. And I love that we keep in contact, through X, through messages, through phones, anything. And I'm lucky that I get to meet Doug. And because of him, I get to go to the expo. I've been going for 3 years now. And I'm so happy with all the connections that I've made through my years.
At least you get something out of dating Doug.
Yes. Yeah, right. But I'm questioning right now. So,
poor Doug. I'm sorry, buddy.
We can make fun of him today. Okay. It's fine. So tell me, are you going to the expo this year?
Oh, of course I'm going to the expo this year. The expo is like the highlight of my, well, I guess I shouldn't say that if my daughter's getting married. It's the second highlight of this year. But no, generally it is the highlight of my year. It's amazing. As I was thinking about, the All Out Blitz moving to Full-Time Fantasy, like Jody Smith, I met at the expo, and, and Ryder Dynasty is also moving to a new home to two people who I met at the expo. And I don't know, we just have built so many great friendships from this little thing that started. And, thanks to Bob Lung, I've made a lot of very good friendships and met a lot of great people. So I'm looking forward to it.
I met you there. You're one of the greatest too. I
There you
remember
go.
last year when I was, like having the vertigo. You sat next to me. You didn't leave my side. I, I can't thank you enough for all of this and for your friendship and
Oh, thank
being
you.
being part of our family as well. So thank you, JJ. I can't wait to see you there.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. Me too. I'm looking forward to it. So let's talk a little bit fantasy football. What
Oh,
sparked your interest in fantasy football, and how has it evolved over the years?
um, just a bunch of buddies started a fantasy football league a long, long time ago. And it just allowed me to kind of nerd out. I've always liked football. Being an old guy, I grew up like staring at box scores. Uh, you couldn't watch a lot of games. My mom didn't really let us watch football at home. So my experience with football was just looking through box scores every Monday and Tuesday for the Monday night games and looking at the last names of players and just imagining how great they were. So I don't know. It's always kind of been there. And as I just slowly got into redraft in the beginning and slowly made the transition over to Dynasty, um, it's everything. Like I love how competitive it is and how you can always try to get better, right? You're never great.
That's awesome. What's the wildest trade you've ever proposed or accepted in a fantasy football league?
I one of the most brilliant people I know in fantasy football is Trip Brebner. He's an IDP genius. I used to host a show with him, and just like hearing him talk about defensive football, like blew my mind. He knows more than he's probably forgotten more than I'll ever know. Um, but we were in this massive 96 team league, and oh, wait, I forget the player's name. Who was the running back from Detroit who was, oh, I can't think of the kid's name.
Put it in the
Who's
comments, guys.
Yeah,
He's
somebody will
asking you the
remember.
question.
But he had just kind of had an okay rookie season. Like his sophomore season was okay. I had him, and he offered me 3 firsts for him. Not Barry Sanders. I know that name. I keep thinking Kenny Galladay, but that was the wide receiver. But yeah, he offered me 3 firsts for the player, and
Wow,
I took it.
that's insane.
I don't think I did anything good with those firsts, so I would like to pretend like I turned it into a lot, but yeah, now I can't think of that guy's name. That's really bothering me. That was a good question. Should I Google it while you talk? Go ahead. Go ahead.
You
Ask
can
me the
Google
next
it.
question as I
I'm fine with that. You can Google it. So, how do you balance stats and gut feelings when making fantasy picks?
how do I balance like stats and well, I always go with my
And gut
gut.
feelings.
Um, you know, I listen to so much content. Like I listen to a lot of pods and I enjoy what different people bring to the table. Like you sort of have to know who knows which position's best. You have to know which stats mean something to you. And then you also have to kind of learn from all of the mistakes that you have made over the years. And Carry On Johnson. There you go. Carry On Johnson. 3 firsts for Carry On Johnson. Sorry, Trip Brebner. I figured it out.
Figured it out.
Yeah. So I don't know. I learn more by my mistakes than I do anything else. Like after you screw up enough times, you figure out how to do it right the next time, I guess.
Yeah. So, what's one piece of advice you would give to a fantasy football rookie?
Have fun. Have fun and don't sweat the clock. If you
I
sign
love
up
that.
for an 8-hour draft, don't start yelling when 1 hour goes by. Right? Pick a draft that you like. Don't do a free league. Put some money into it, right?
Yeah,
Free leagues get a little bit crazy, but yeah, have fun. This is supposed to be fun. And I think people take it way too seriously. Like,
that's the best advice. I agree. I agree. How does hosting podcasts like All Out Blitz and Ride
Mhm.
or Dynasty help shape your fantasy strategies?
Well, if you're gonna host a podcast, you should do it with smart people. That way, you can let them do the research, and then by being a good host, you set them up to give you all their information. I work with Doug, who's phenomenal. Don't tell him I said that. Doug is phenomenal. Always has been. I love hearing him talk football. Rider Dynasty, I do with two of my buddies, Joe Harlow and Jamison Hutchinson, who are both
Yeah,
great fantasy players. They have great fantasy minds, and I'm just always curious to hear what they have to say. And I think that's the best thing about being a host is being curious.
agreed. Agreed. It's amazing how, a podcast can lead you to places, with people.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most underrated fantasy player that people often overlook?
Jacoby Myers.
Why?
Jacoby Myers. Because forever when he was on the Patriots, everybody complained he didn't score touchdowns. Then he scored a bunch of touchdowns, and everybody said, "Oh, well, he's gonna go back." Like I don't know. I just like Jacoby Myers. He is as bland as can be. He's not gonna win you a league, but he's not gonna lose you a week. So, Jacoby Myers. I love Jacoby Myers.
So you would say he's your ride or die player?
I always find a way to get Jacoby Myers on my roster.
Yeah.
And I don't always start him, but he's always somewhere there. He's like a safety blanket.
Wow. That's good. What's the funniest league punishment you've seen or heard of?
I've never been in a league that's had a league punishment. Um, I'm intrigued by the Waffle House one. I'm a larger dude. I can eat a lot. So I've never understood why that is such a challenge. I would love to get that punishment though. I don't want to come in last in my fantasy league, but like I almost want to try that just for fun. What about you? What's the craziest one you've heard of?
I didn't hear anything yet of the stuff. So
What?
that's something new. That's something new to me. I don't
Oh,
play. I don't play. So
you can't ask questions if you don't know your own answers. You're
I'm
a
asking the
teacher.
questions.
Oh, that's not how this works. You're
I'm not
interviewing a
gonna say my
host. You
secret.
know I'm going to Tai Chi this shit right back on you. Yeah, right back at you.
No,
Okay,
JJ.
fine. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll just sit here and take it.
You take it from me. I'm not gonna take it back.
Okay. You heard that, Doug.
What inspired you to start All About Blitz and Ride or Dynasty podcast?
Rider Dynasty was sort of a happenstance. I had started writing for a site that kind of went belly up. Everybody disappeared and ran out. There were 3 guys left in the group chat. We decided to start a podcast. And first, I had the Rider Dynasty as my username, I think for the football guys message boards. And I was like, oh, I think that would be a good name. I ran it by them. They said, sure. And it was terrible. Our podcast was terrible. Lord, I think back to how bad everything was. But you learn and you got better. And so that one didn't have too great of a story. Now, Doug and the All Out Blitz, one of the first expos, talking to Doug for a long time because any conversation with Doug takes a long time. You know what I mean? But no, we were just talking and he was explaining his approach and his matchup charts and looking at the cornerbacks who the wide receiver is going to face in week 13 and whether or not and I was like, dear Lord, And I just wanted to know more. And every time I saw Doug, we would just have this like more conversation. And a couple of years ago, I was like, Doug, you need to have a podcast, and I want to help you do it because more people need to know Doug. That was my whole thought process. So bothered him for a while, and eventually he acquiesced, and we launched All Out Blitz last year, right around this time, actually about a month from now. And it was just a great time, but I really enjoy hearing Doug analyze football.
And I love how you start your podcast. You started with like a little bit of fun. So you work on the small sketch between the two of you.
That's all Doug. Doug came up with that idea.
Really?
Yeah, I know. You right? I was like, Doug has a good idea. I'll take it. But no, you know,
I love it.
It's funny. I enjoy it. It's, I don't know, it's different. Little throwback to PTI, but
yeah. I agree. I love that. No, I love your podcast. I watched a couple of them, and I love the small sketches that you do at the beginning. It's a great, you know, like trying to get the people to listen to what you need to say more.
A hook, as an English teacher
would call it. A hook. True. As a word language teacher, we have a hook too. That's amazing. So, what's been your favorite fan interaction stemming from your podcasts?
I don't think I have any fans.
No?
No. The nicest thing anybody ever said to me was, who said something nice to me? I don't even know. Oh, Jorge. Jorge from Fantasy and Frames. He, at the expo last year, he just said, hey, I was listening to your pod with Doug. You guys are doing great stuff. And I was like, whoa, that means a lot. Like, thank you. Like, I don't, it was a casual comment, but it was like a heartfelt comment.
Yes.
And I was like, thanks, man.
You like this genuine like stuff when it happened. It might be small, but it's genuine. And Jorge is someone genuine that I had the pleasure to have him on my podcast as well. That's great, dude. Amazing. Yeah, he is. So I know that you write everything, and doing a podcast, it's a lot of work, especially that you have a family, you are a teacher, and you wear many hats through the day. So what's the most challenging part of producing a podcast, and how do you handle it?
I think the hardest part for me is staying up late. I'm an early riser. I get up around like 4:15, 4:30 in the morning, mainly due to anxiety about my teaching day. So I usually go to bed around 7:30. I'm asleep.
Really?
So yeah, I like going to bed early. So for me, it's balancing like my sleep requirements. I find as I get older, I do need a certain amount of sleep to be at my best for school. But I'm kind of lucky. My kids are grown. They're out of the house. I started this when they were already graduated high school. My wife loves her TV shows and her videos, and she does her own things that's downstairs. So we've always kind of just let each other do what we love. So it's not that hard to balance for me, if I'm being like honest, but I also don't do a lot. You know, I organize the show, I write some intros, and, just try to keep everything running smoothly.
Yeah. If you could listen to a podcast hosted by any historical figure, especially that you're a history teacher, who would it be and why?
Freddie D. Frederick Douglass is like my idol. I love Frederick Douglass. I would love to hear him speak about anything. I mean, a man who was born into slavery, taught himself how to read, escaped, became the most photographed person of his era, right? I mean, yeah. I actually have a little stuffed Frederick Douglass I keep in my room. He has a very disappointing look on his face. So every time the kids make me mad, I hold him up and I say, we're both disappointed in you, and we go on with our day. So yeah, I would love to hear Frederick Douglass do a
Nice.
podcast.
Do you see the future of podcasting like coming to an end, or how do you see it in the fantasy football niche?
Listen, there's a lot of people making a lot of pods. Pods have sort of transitioned onto YouTube. Everybody's making these short little videos or long videos.
Yeah.
And as long as I don't want to put on my fight the power hat, as long as these giant corporations are able to reap the rewards of the unpaid masses work, we're going to survive. We'll be there, right? Because they get to just pile ads onto our programming and make some money off of it. So I don't know. I see it around for a while. I was a little nervous about sports betting kind of taking it in. I don't really like their hold on some of the market, but no, I think fantasy is thriving. It's sort of hit its peak during COVID, and I think it's been sort of tailing, but I think we're plateauing now. So I think it's a pretty good place.
So, Jets fan, what drew you to become a lifelong Jets fan?
I've always been into sadomasochism, so that was a joke. I went to Hofstra University, the Harvard of Long Island. Don't tell anybody who went to Delphi that. But when I was a freshman, that's where the Jets had their training camp. And we had a player playing for the Jets named Wayne Corbett, who ended up being an undrafted free agent of the Jets.
Wow.
Keyshawn Johnson was there. It was sort of this like great, I don't know. It was awesome. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be my team. And I'm going to live a life of happiness and joy and count the Super Bowls because they will be coming shortly. And didn't really happen. Kind of miserable, but still love them. Still love them.
So if you could ask the Jets head coach one question, what would it be?
How badly do you want to punch Brick Johnson in the face?
Why?
Well, Brick Johnson is like the teen son of the Jets owner, who's a terrible person. He's a terrible owner, probably one of the worst owners in the league. It's the reason why we'll never win until he sells the team. But last year it was reported that like Brick was having a little bit too much say and was like using Madden ratings. But S&M, this is not that kind of pod, JJ. Yes, it is, Doug. Be quiet. Yeah, that's what I would ask. How does it like, why here? But I'm glad Aaron Glenn did come back. You know, a longtime Jet. I grew up watching Aaron Glenn play, so I'm kind of excited for this year, but
Lazy. So in your wildest fantasy, what would a Jets Super Bowl victory parade look like?
Oh, stop it. Stop it. You might as well say, what would it be like to meet a unicorn? Like, it's not going to happen. So I don't even go down these paths. Like,
it might.
No, it's not going to happen. We know it's not going to happen. Like, last year, I went into the season going, well, 2 years ago, if Aaron Rodgers like can stay healthy, it's going to. Then he 4 plays in, tears his ACL. I turned on the game 2 years ago, turned on the game. I was, I think, doing a podcast or just getting home. And I was like, game's on. And I was like, does that look, why is Zach Wilson coming in the game? I'm like, am I watching a replay of like the preseason game 4? Like, why is he? And I texted my son. I'm like, why the hell is Zach Wilson in the game? And he's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles.
That's insane. Yeah, he was sick this year. It's insane. I don't get it.
But
we had a lot of people getting sick this year. I don't know what happened this year.
How did that
It
work
was
for you, JJ?
awful.
Not well, Sniper Mel. Not well.
How did that work for you? He's not happy, Mel. He's not happy at all.
Whatever. I didn't like Aaron Rodgers anyway, so
So let's talk a little bit about your personal side, JJ.
sure.
What's been the most rewarding part of being an eighth grader history teacher?
Oh, I love the kids, man. Um, I was saying today that I don't have to teach. I get to teach every day, right? I get to go in, I get to build relationships with kids who they have a lot of trouble, right? I teach at not like a terrible inner city school, but we're a Title One school. Lots of poverty, and I get to help
Thank
kids. Like,
Yeah.
this is my second career. I did sales for 20 years before deciding I wanted to go back to school. And so this is what I wanted. I wanted to make a difference. And although some days it's hard, at the end of every day, I know I've earned a paycheck. I've done a good job. So I love teaching. I love what I do. And teaching history is like the smallest part of it.
Yeah.
Although right now I'm teaching the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and it's like a little scary, but I'm having great conversations with the kids about what's going on in the country, getting their opinions, and like I said, helping some kids through some really rough times. Eighth grade is a tough time. We
It is.
all were jerks in middle school.
Yeah.
This guy is
That's
proud. Oh,
crazy.
thanks, buddy.
I love that. So, what inspired you to start the Lego and LGBTQ IA plus clubs, and
Go ahead.
what impact have they had?
Sure. Lego Club was an idea of one of my students. He was kind of outcast. He was a foster kid, had a lot of issues, and he had this big thing of Legos, and he wanted to know if I would host the Lego Club. He was looking for somebody to host it. So I said, sure, right? Because everything good comes from saying yes at some point. So
Yeah.
he brought in this giant thing of Legos, and kids, I put out the notice that we're having a Lego Club, and about 25 sixth graders signed up for it. And man, they have so much energy, and they're so little, and they're so loud, but they were so happy just to be able to sit around a room and build with Legos.
Yeah.
So, I'm in my second year. That kid moved on and he donated his Legos over the years. Like different
Awesome.
teachers have donated Legos. And there's no real, I don't know, there's no agenda. There's nothing no organization. They just build and they act like kids. So that's a lot of fun. As far as True Colors, which is the LGBTQIA plus club, that was run by another teacher for a number of years. Can't kids joke? It doesn't seem safe. I don't let them eat the Legos. That'd be dangerous. But another teacher had been running that club, and she decided to retire. So they were looking for somebody. Nobody wanted to do it. So I was like, yeah, I love those kids. So, and that again, there's no type of agenda to it. It's just a safe space. We sit around.
Agreed.
We had club today, and we planned our second art contest. We sponsor an art contest for the school, where kids submit their drawings. We come up with themes, and we give out like art supplies as rewards, one like different first, second, and third for each of the grades. We listen to music. Usually the kids actually like a lot of older music, like kind of my era music. So that's it. We sit and draw and talk about music. It's a lot of fun. And, and kids come back year after year and they start sharing, and, life is hard. Life is
I
hard.
agree.
So school shouldn't be. Like, school should be a place where kids can find a home and find somebody who will just listen.
100%. I agree with you. I agree with you. I have high schoolers and same. They just want, a shoulder to cry sometimes.
Mhm.
And us as teachers, we are there to support them as much as we can. And I love that. So I don't know what's going on tonight with the bots. Like we already banned two people. So
It's okay. Somebody said I was teaching CRT. Honestly, if you think I could teach a college level thought process to 8th grade middle school children, I can't. We had a spelling bee in my class the other day and they couldn't spell Constitution. So I don't think you have to worry about it.
the other person, he's like, oh, I know that kids will choke on Legos or whatever. I'm like,
I am surprised nobody has eaten a Lego, but I can't be sure they haven't. I can't be sure they haven't. So
oh my God, I think we have bots tonight. So let's work it out, JJ. So, how do you find balance between your professional, personal, and podcasting lives?
how do I find balance? I don't. I go to therapy. No, balance, you have to do what you love.
Yes.
You have to
Agreed.
do what you love. So there's times when I'll notice that I am not paying enough attention to one part of my life. I think anybody who does content in fantasy football will realize they'll hit a point where they're like, oh, maybe I should talk to my partner. So I'll do that. I'll be like, I got to start spending time with my wife again. But I've been married a long time, so finding a balance there isn't that hard. We like listening to music. We like watching movies. Like, we have interests that we're able to dive in and spend some quality time together.
That's
Um,
nice.
and I'm just I try to leave school at school. I'm trying to do a better job of not bringing home trauma. It's
Can you?
sometimes hard. You
It
know
is
that,
hard.
right? How do you do it?
It's man, I call Doug sometimes in the car in tears, like in tears. So it's hard. It's hard. And we know that.
But you find a good balance, right? Are you
Yeah.
able to leave it at school?
I can sometimes. I really can't because like a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you heard, it was more than a couple weeks, like around the beginning of March, we had someone like we had to lock down.
Yep.
I don't want to talk too much about it, but
Mhm.
we had to lock down. So it brings a lot of like scary stuff. You need to take all the kids and put them in a place that no one can see, no one can hear. So you sit for like 3-4 hours. They cannot use the restroom, they cannot go outside. Like, there's a lot that can happen in just a blink of an eye. And people from the outside, they don't know how much we do as teachers, how much we need to protect those kids, and how much we work to like keep them protected. So it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. And if I didn't have Doug on the other part of the phone, I don't know sometimes what I would have done, because like I would be driving back in tears because
I
it's
one of the reasons, like, I'll go to therapy is to seek some help with how to handle the
yeah,
trauma that's like dumped on us.
yes,
It's good to build relationships. It's necessary, but these kids will
agree.
tell me everything.
Me
And
too.
what my therapist said to me that's kind of stuck with me is that it's their pain, not yours. And
Yeah,
it's kind of unfair to them to take it onto yourself because you're sort of stealing it from them. Like, and you can help them through their pain, but you can't own it. So I try, after like one of those conversations with the kids where they tell me something terrible and we navigate it, like just to like flush it. After they leave the room, process it and let it go. Move on to something else. Because I don't know, if you keep all of it with you, God, like it's hard to go to sleep. It's hard to stay asleep, but
It's like
yeah, you
I
got to.
I keep everything in, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I keep thinking about these kids, how I can help them when they tell me something is going on, especially whatever they go through at home.
Mhm.
And like, I love those kids.
Yeah,
I know that we are not their parents, but at the same time, we care for them.
we do. But in order to help the kids, you also have to help yourself first. You can't, I don't know what a good phrase is, but like
Yeah,
you have to make
yeah,
sure your cup is full in order to help other people. Because if you let your cup run out, man, then you have nothing to give.
yeah,
And I think that's the one thing fantasy football does for me. I've
yeah.
noticed in the past few months since we last I did podcasts, um, like I don't have that diversion. I don't have something to come home and focus on. I've been reading more. I've been my buddy Drew Davenport, another great friend I made through the expo,
Me too.
was kind enough. I asked for some recommendations for like historical fiction, and he bought me books and sent them to me. Kindest man. And of course, like I poured through these two
Amazing.
books. I'm addicted. I just bought like the sequels to each of the books. But yeah, just come home and I try to just get myself thinking about something else, just to
I'm
let go.
trying to learn that. Yeah, it's important to let go, like you said, because I'm that person that I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I keep thinking and thinking and
Mhm.
rethinking how I will help them. And it's hard. It's hard, but we're gonna be there for them, right?
Got to.
Yeah. So what does inclusivity mean to you, and how do you bring that to life in your work, especially that you do all the clubs?
Yeah, listen, I guess for me, it's always been that like it's hard because I am somebody who has a scarcity mindset. I view the world where if somebody else is getting love, I don't think there's enough left for me. But that's just from my own trauma. That's my own nonsense.
Yeah.
So when I approach the world, uh, I guess somewhat I kind of play a character in school. And because I don't want to let that pull me down. So
Yeah.
I lead with love. I go full out. Um, I approach the kids with respect. It doesn't matter what they say to me. It doesn't matter if they curse in my class. I don't care what they do. I try to show them what my thought is of what it means to be a man, what it means to be an adult.
Yes.
And being an adult is showing up even when somebody hurts your feelings, even when somebody's mean to you. I'm there the next day saying good morning to every single kid as they walk through like every kid that walks onto my team and the other team in 8th grade, because I'm not going to let them ever see me down. Um, I don't know. So when it comes to inclusivity, like everybody needs to know that they're wanted. And I think we live in a world where a lot of people are being told that they don't belong.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't care. I don't care if you're gay or trans or black or Hispanic. I don't care.
Preach.
I love
Yep.
I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna love you and I'm gonna support you in every way I can. Um, and all the other stuff, like I will listen to you and I will help you with stuff, but like it doesn't matter to me. It
Me
doesn't
too.
matter to me what baggage you have or what your beliefs are. People just need to know that they're accepted.
I agree 100%. And it all starts at school. It all starts at school. I love that. So
Well, it
Mel
all
is
starts at home, you hope.
it,
But sometimes they don't get it there. So
but yeah,
you have to
we're
show
gonna
up.
keep it at but. So Mel is asking you a question. So do your students know about or ask about fantasy football?
We talk a lot about real football. When they find out I like fantasy and I play fantasy, they'll
Yeah.
always show me their terrible teams and their terrible trades. Eighth graders are terrible at fantasy football. But every once in a while, like there's this one kid who's a Jets fan, and every time he would walk by, we would just like yell our record to each other, and we'd win a game, and we'd like high five in the morning. So yeah, we talk about fantasy football all the time. We talk about sports all the time. It's just sports is a great way to connect. Sports breaks down a lot of different barriers. This morning, in an intervention class, where we watched some badminton, Olympic level badminton, pickleball, and then we were watching some NCAA highlights, both men's and women's, because we have a couple lady basketball players in my intervention class.
I love that. I love that. That's cool. So, with your daughter's wedding approaching, what's one piece of marriage advice would you give to her?
I think the best part, marriage needs to be a partnership. You need to have a partner, and you need to be walking hand in hand into the future. Sometimes one will get ahead and have to pull the other. Sometimes it'll be reverse, but it has to be an equal partnership. And I know for years I was not a great husband. I don't think I don't think I had the empathy that was needed. And I didn't necessarily recognize that my wife is a person outside of me, right? That narcissistic thing that a lot of men have, that the only way she existed to me was in like relation to my needs and my wants. So, the best thing I have learned is that you have to accept people. You have to accept your partner for who they are and recognize that they have their own thoughts, their own wants. They're their own person outside of you.
Yeah. Agreed, 100%.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I love that, JJ. What's a moment when a student surprised you with their insights?
Oh, just today. Just today we were talking
Really?
about what were we talking about in class? We were talking about political parties because we're talking about Washington's presidency. Washington didn't like political parties, Jefferson, Hamilton, that whole nonsense. So I asked, like, why do you think that Washington didn't like? And somebody said, because of small ideas. I said, go on. And they were like, well, sometimes when you have a bunch of people yelling at each other, there's a good idea, a little small idea that somebody brings up that is a really good one. But because everybody's yelling back and forth, nobody listens to the small ideas. And he's like, maybe that's why he hated them. I was like, okay, that's great. I never thought about it that way.
That's an eighth grader giving you that answer.
Yeah, they're smart. Like, listen, I think we discount this generation because they are knuckleheads, but they're exposed to so much more than we ever were at that age. And they have deep thoughts. They just don't really know how to express them well yet. But I don't know. I like these kids. They're interesting.
They can spill the tea. They can spill the tea, JJ.
Oh, clock the tea. Clocking the tea.
So, Angie, have another question for you. So, do you have any sports-loving girls in your class?
Yeah. Not a lot of football fans. But yeah, I was watching the NCAA. We have these twins, girls basketball players who are really good. We have a bunch of like softball players. I have this one girl who is like doing powerlifting for softball, and she like loves to talk about how much she's deadlifting, and I'm like, oh my word, that's impressive. But Yeah, we have a lot of athletic girls this year. More so than the boys, I think.
Crazy.
I
I
think we have
love
better
that.
female athletes than male athletes this year. Don't tell the kids I said that.
I would never zip. So, you know that students sometimes inspire us in like a lot of different ways. So, what your students inspire you, and what exactly do they do in class to inspire you or to give you that motivation to keep going or to keep doing what you're doing?
You know, it's when you find out a kid's backstory
Yeah.
and you find out sometimes it's your toughest student, the student who makes you the angriest, the kids who's the meanest to you. And you
Yeah.
you really like talk to them and you start finding out their backstory. And then you recognize that despite everything they go through, they show up every day. Right? Because it's the kids who give you the hardest time that never miss a week of school. Like it's the great kids who like will disappear and like go somewhere. And but if these kids can grow up in a house with abuse, with neglect, and show up every day and try even a little bit, like what the hell do I have to complain about? Like nothing. Nothing. I have nothing to complain about compared to what some of these kids go through just to get to school. So I don't know. I think these kids are an inspiration. And when you provide them with a platform and an opportunity to express themselves and you teach them the language of how to express yourself,
Yeah.
like they'll blow you away. And like I said earlier, I don't have to teach. I get to teach every day. I get to go in there and talk to kids every day. And like people should be jealous because it's a great job. It's
It
hard
is.
as hell, but it's a great job.
It is. And we don't do it for the money. We do it for the love of teaching and being there for our kids. So
Did it for the money, we'd be idiots because there's not a lot of money in it.
no, no,
But
not a lot.
no, not at all. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad to look at my daughter and my
Yeah.
son, both so much younger. The fiance, they all make about double what I make. But at the end of the day, I still feel good. I feel much better than when I was in sales making more money.
Yeah, I agree. So, talking about family and personal reflections, how do you and your family celebrate milestones and achievements together?
How do we celebrate milestones and achievements? I don't know, parties. We get together.
Yeah.
Like one of the things my wife and I always said, we like the fact that we enjoy being with our kids and our kids enjoy being with us. Like we're invited up whenever we go up to my daughter's house. My son actually rents a room in my daughter's house, so they still live together. And then when we go up for like holidays or over the summer, like we'll stay with them for a week. And it's great. And normally at the end, like my daughter doesn't want us to leave. She wishes we could all just live together.
I love it.
But I don't know. Like we just support each other. Like,
I love it.
but my wife is the best. My wife has created such a loving relationship with the children,
That's
a
nice.
welcoming relationship to the children. She did great work. I was a part of it, but no, she really is the heart of this family, and she makes everybody feel special and welcome.
Because she's special.
Yeah,
I
she
love
is.
that.
She's amazing. She's
Special.
amazing.
Is she coming with you out to the expo this year?
She would never go to the expo.
No.
She would find it terrible. She doesn't give a shit about fantasy football. Like, she's like,
Well,
why would I?
and
No,
see.
no. She's like, she's like, no. That's your time. And then in September,
I
when
love
I
it.
go back to school, she goes on a vacation to Cape Cod. And I can't
You
be like,
kidding me?
yeah, good for her.
I
I don't
said,
like the beach. She loves the beach.
tell her to take me with her. I love the beach.
Listen, I don't tell my wife to do anything. My wife does what she wants to do. And you can't go. You're teaching. She plans it for when I'm teaching.
I'll
She's a
take off
genius.
this.
She's a genius.
I love it though. I love that. She is a genius.
She is.
So, what's a family tradition you cherish the most?
A family tradition.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, we eat
Nice.
Chinese food.
Yeah.
And the kids still come home for Christmas, and they still come down the stairs, and I make them wait at the top so I can take a picture, and they still get mad at me every year like they have for so long. And then they come down and we buy them way too many presents, and the entire room is filled with their presents, and they get so happy like little kids. And my son takes like 4 hours to open every present, and my daughter rips through them. Like nothing has ever changed. They've been the same since they were little. My son will like open up the tape, and my daughter just rips. It's like just garbage everywhere. And she finishes, and my son has like 30 left.
He can sit next to Doug, opening the gifts slowly. I rip everything.
It's awesome. Tell my wife she can host her own pod if she goes to the you wouldn't want to hear my wife's pod. It'd be about how stupid men are and why we're not needed. It would be.
The power of a woman.
There you go. The power of a woman.
I love it.
Amen.
I love it. I want to meet up with your wife right now, JJ. I can't.
She might not even exist. I might just like make her up. Nobody's met her. She's like a figment of my imagination. Actually, that's not true. Right behind you, she's in the picture.
She's still amazing.
In the picture. My sweet little deadhead.
If your life were a book, what would the title be?
I just thought of something dirty, but I won't say that one. If my life was a book, what would it be?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. My life is a book. What would it be? I don't know. It would probably be. I have no idea if my life was a book. Huh. Let me hold on. I have a lot of books. Maybe something by Stephen King. Probably something by Stephen King or scary. Maybe a philosophy book. I like philosophy.
I like philosophy too.
Oh, Lehigh Valley. Oh, there's Pete. What's up, Pete? Represent. Lehigh Valley. Gotta love it. It? No, I'm not reading about you, Doug. You're like Pennywise. You haunt my dreams.
Oh my God.
I should know the answer to that better. You know, I was just talking about The Call of the Wild today. I like that book a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a bad.
No.
I'm an English major. I should have an answer to that. Maybe a Shakespearean play, Macbeth. I love Macbeth.
I love that. Maybe think about it and tweet it. Tweet it and tag me.
I'll skeet it. I'm on Blue Sky. I don't mess around with Twitter as much.
So, if you were building a fantasy football team entirely of historical figures, who would you draft?
Well, first you got to go Abe Lincoln, right? He's tall, thin, very strong. Like, he could throw that football. So that would be my quarterback. I don't care if he's too mobile. He wasn't good at evading some things. It's too soon. Too soon for an assassination Abraham Lincoln joke? Maybe. I would have to say, yeah. So he would be back there. Running back, Harriet Tubman. You could tell the part of history I'm interested in, right? She was able to evade all those fools in the South, getting up and back, like on the Underground Railroad. So she would be my running back. Who would be my wide receivers? Probably Jefferson, right? Jefferson is like, What was that? Was that Denny Carter who did that great thing where the wide receivers are always saying something like extremely deep and thoughtful? So probably like Jefferson out wide. I don't know. Oh, I would probably have to start Andrew Jackson. He was a jerk, but he was crazy. He'd be like my fullback, like Mike Alt. No, Andrew Jackson would be my tight end because he would just like block and like run people over. He's a lot like Gronk that way. Is that what you were looking for? Like who I would start like that?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
In historical figures. So
Yeah.
that's
I think
perfect.
that's what I would go with.
So, what's a question you wish more people would ask you?
A question more people would ask me. Huh. I don't know. I don't. It's funny. I love answering questions. That's why I sort of like just being surprised. Maybe what question do I like being asked? I like being asked a lot of the questions you asked. Like I have a lot of strong opinions about
Yeah.
inclusiveness. I have a lot of strong opinions. Like I serve in local government. Um, like I care a lot about civics. So maybe stuff along those those lines. Maybe. I don't know. I just like answering questions. I love questions. I love questions. Questions are so interesting. Every day in class, our bell ringer is a journal question that I come up with, and they have to answer weird questions. Like today was, if you had a free round trip ticket to anywhere in the world, even a fictional place, where would you go?
Yeah.
It was interesting hearing some of their responses.
It is.
So I don't know. I love questions.
I love that. And I see that. We're going through a lot of questions tonight. So, what's one change you hope to see in the world during your lifetime, JJ?
Oh, dear Lord. What is one change I would like to see in the world? I would like people to I wish people could see more what we have in common than the differences between us. I think at the end of the day, everybody wants to live in a safe environment. They want to be able to raise their children. They want to be able to earn a living. They want to go on vacation a little bit every year. Yeah, I think that's what everybody wants, or at least the people. And I think once we realize that we shouldn't be necessarily manipulated by the rich, that we can see we have a lot more in common. I live in a town that skews heavily. It's a small little community, skews heavily in the opposite direction of me. And every month we have our town council meeting, and the bell rings on the church, and all the people like walk to the town hall. Like it's like very out of like Mayberry. And whenever we're at that meeting, nobody talks about politics. We talk about what's best for town.
Nice.
We talk about what we need, and we talk about each other, and we just figure out how best to navigate everything. And I think if politics like can work at a local level like that, there's no reason why it can't work on a larger scale.
I agree 100%. I don't speak politics, especially on social media, because of the bad stuff that's happening. People cannot agree with what others need to say. In my opinion, they need to just listen. You agree, you don't agree, it's fine. Just be respectful and move forward. We need to work together to become one, to become successful in life. If we don't work together, we're not going to be successful. So I totally agree with you. And I love that you have a small, like space that you can talk to people, no matter what they think about politics, but they come together for the town. That's amazing. So we've come to an end, and I don't want to finish that podcast.
I thought this was 2 hours.
I know. You want to continue?
Only an hour?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
You want to continue?
Right. Hey, I'll answer questions all night. I mean, I have to go to bed eventually, but I'm doing okay.
That's why I don't want you to, because you said that you sleep
Whatever.
early.
I
So
can
I
have
want
one off day.
to
They'll understand.
I'm fine with that. So, JJ, before I finish, usually with my podcast, I do have one more question to ask.
Okay.
So, what I do ask my whoever I host is if they have something that they never shared before, maybe a secret or something that they never spoke of when they were in their teenager year or maybe younger, that nobody knows about and wants to share in the Game Changers tonight. What is that secret?
Wow. See, this is always an interesting question, right? So you ask this question and you immediately go through like the two silos, right? The
Mhm.
secrets that are true secrets, never really talk about. And then the secrets that are like, yeah, they're the soft secrets. You can share those secrets. Does it have to be from when I was young?
It doesn't have no, it doesn't have to be from when you're young. It's something
Well, I
that
don't
you
want to
maybe
end on
never
a sad note, but yeah,
not
so you have to ask
saying.
me one happier question after this. Look, I have to get readjusted. All right.
Okay.
So when my father passed away, my father was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. And you know, he had finally retired and he had planned out like he had always talked about everything he wanted to do when he retired. And then
Yeah.
like right after he retired, he got diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And it was a fast decline.
Yeah.
And you know, when he passed away, um, you know, it was hard for me to mourn because I felt like I had already mourned losing him. And I didn't give myself time to grieve. And I recognize now looking back that I went through from the time he was diagnosed till the time he passed a very dark period in my life. And I think people need to open up more about grief and how to process grief. And I think we all say, like, yeah, I know how to grieve. I know what it means. But, you know, I don't know if a lot of people really know how to process grief. I don't even know if I know how to process grief. But
No
I
one knows.
think the best thing I've learned in life, the secret to life, is that understanding that everything has its season. Nothing lasts. Good times don't last, bad times don't last.
Agree.
Right? You can find yourself in a great environment with a bunch of great friends, but 10 years from now you probably won't be with them. Like you'll either change jobs, you'll move on, somebody will get married, and it all changes.
Yeah.
And no matter how bad of a day you're going through, no matter how bad it is right now, that too is going to end. And there's a beauty to that, right? Like I'm not a religious person. But to every season, right? Like everything is a season. And you just the one thing you get from life as you get older is understanding that. It's understanding the fact that you have to appreciate where you are right now. And if you're not happy where you are, give it a minute. It'll probably change. But yeah, just appreciate the season you're in and know that it's going to come to an end. And that's nobody's fault. It's just the way life works.
That's life. I'm so sorry for your loss and
Oh,
big heart.
it's
So
okay.
sorry that yeah. So we're gonna end on something else then.
Okay, a positive, like a happy.
Yes. So if you could have one superpower, what would it be and how would you use it?
All right. Do you think Doug is still listening to the show?
He is.
Oh, okay. Then I won't say that one.
Why?
No, I was just kidding. If I could have any superpower,
Yes.
you know, I think watching Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and just thinking about
Ooh.
not being able to be hurt. Like, I know he like can drown, but like just that ability to, because isn't that what everybody wants? Just to be able to endure, to take the
Yeah.
pain and keep moving. But yeah, I would like that. Or don't tell Doug this. Sometimes when Doug's talking, I wish I could like fast forward a little bit, like the real life 1.2 speed, like on podcasts. No, Doug, I'm just joking. I love Doug.
He takes
But it
his
makes me
time
happy to tease him.
I agree. he research a lot and he takes his time for
Oh,
it.
I love that though. I love that.
Yes,
I
yeah.
love it, Doug.
No,
Poor Doug. Doug is not here. Doug, you
he's
are
not
always
here, right? He's not here.
here, Doug.
We're all done.
We may have just broken up.
I love it. JJ, thank you so much for coming tonight on the show.
Thank you for
I
having
really
me.
appreciate your time. I know that you gave me the time that you cherish the most, which is, your sleep. But this is such an honor, honestly, for me and for our audience tonight. But before we conclude, JJ, can you please share how our audience can contact you on social media?
Sure. I am still on X at JJWENNER. The same thing on Blue Sky. So at JJWENNER.bsky.social. And you can make sure next Tuesday, go over to the Football Diehards channel on YouTube. Make sure you're watching our show. Doug and I are recording, probably live on the 2nd. And then pay attention to Fantasy and Frames for the debut of Rider Dynasty, probably in the next month or so.
That's awesome news. I can't wait. And it's going to be live from now on, not recorded?
I think Doug and I are going to try some lives.
Yes, let's go. That's going to be amazing. I love it. I love that. That's awesome. So thank you for joining us for this episode of The Game Changers. I hope my discussion with JJ provided valuable insights into his experiences in fantasy football and life itself. Join me for the next episode on Wednesday, April 2nd, featuring Kyle Linderman as my special guest. I would like to acknowledge JC for his contributions behind the scene and the entire TSA team. Please subscribe to our podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is important for our improvement. Follow us on social media for updates on upcoming episodes and be part of the Sports Affiliation community where everyone is welcome. Until next time, keep challenging the game and making your mark. This is Carla and JJ signing off. Wishing you all a pleasant evening. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.